I had a little talk with my mother yesterday, and again, the forbidden word, Connecticut, came up. I love her, but her mindset is sometimes adorable and naive. Family is all you have. Friends come and go. They do. I hate to admit that, but they do come and go. But if you're in an environment that you do everything by the book and their rules, and you just seem to can't get ahead, maybe that's not the place for you. And that's what Connecticut is. Nebraska is boring. It's so boring. It's there's nothing here. There's more to do in Connecticut than there is in Nebraska. But as far as the cost of living and work stability, it's not on par with most states. Because in order to do anything, you need money. That's just what we live our lives around, is money. If you want to read a book, one way or another, the book was bought. That costs money. If you want to shower costs money. Just everything in our everyday lives, it costs money. So to do something in Connecticut will cost you an arm and maybe a leg. When I was in Connecticut, I had various jobs, and jobs that I couldn't even keep for more than 2 years. It's sad, but it's true. You know, most of the jobs that I had was being a rent-a-cop, was being a security guard, but that profession paid more than what most jobs were hiring people for. So, unfortunately, there was no job security, because most security jobs, ironically, there's no job security in security. Now I get it. No, but seriously, that job paid more than the average, and the security job, it goes off of a contract. So you could get hired as a security officer, and that would depend on how often you would work and how much you would make. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's mediocre, but for the most part, it's never bad, And there was a time where I worked at Subway. There was no advancement there. Everything was minimum wage. I worked at Home Depot. It paid like 75 cents more than your average job out there, but still it was pretty low. I worked a lot of jobs, and nothing could get me to where I needed to be. And yeah, you can live with your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your father, but they're going to want, if you're working, they're going to want a piece of that pie one way or another. Whether they want to use your piece of your pie for cigarettes or for food or to put it towards the mortgage or rent, they're going to want a piece of it. Now, you're living with your relatives to save up money and to go on your own. But, that really can't happen if your family's dipping on top of the state and federal government, i.e. your taxes. So, Connecticut taxes you for everything. And I mean everything. And, you just can't get ahead. So, I know my mom means well and she's just looking out. But I've worked way too hard just to get out of that state. And I kind of want to keep it that way. I'll visit, but, you'll catch me joining ISIS or some other messed up terrorist organization group before you catch me, moving back to Connecticut. And Connecticut is one of those states where you see something wrong and it's affecting your livelihood, and then when it comes to election time, you literally vote for the same thing, for the same person that is affecting your livelihood. And I call that the hive mind syndrome, because to me it seems that the people of Connecticut really can't think for themselves, and they want someone else to think or say things for them, which is why the town of Waterbury is still a slum. Bridgeport is Bridgeport. You have your rich areas like, Orange and Milford. West Haven was up there, but now it's starting to become like a mini version of New Haven. And Hartford is not far from the branch either. So, it for places with an abundance of apartments to live in, yeah, you could go to those towns. But anything outside of that scope, you're gonna need to have a career, so to say. And getting a solid career where it pays you enough to get back and forth to work, because that's a gas problem right there. To get back and forth to work, and then to eat, and then to pay your bills. You're pretty much going to be working paycheck to paycheck, no matter what job or career that you have in Connecticut. So why would I go back? And my mom, she's also very opinionated, so she'll listen, but her mind is not going to change. She's like, oh, that's where you're from. It's like, yeah, that's where I'm from, but just because I'm from a place doesn't mean that I need to stay there or that I need to live there. I'm not obligated to have love for a place that never loved me back, or that never loved me to begin with. And yeah, most of my friends are in Connecticut too, but they're doing their own things, and some of them aren't even my friends anymore for reasons that I don't even know. They're probably still on my Facebook, but I'll never get a text back, or they're too busy, quote unquote, too busy for work or whatever. So and I feel that anything and everything in Connecticut, including friendships and even family members, it's all transactional. And there was a time where it wasn't like that. It was just pure, like, I'm gonna scratch your back, you know, and you can scratch my back whenever you feel like, now it's like, scratch your back, you scratch my back, with a plus or minus in between. There were times when I was in Connecticut and I was looking for a place to stay. They wanted you to have a job where it pays you 2, sometimes 3 times the rent, which was, again, impossible. So, even if I wanted to go back to Connecticut and find a job, and like, there's a job lined up in Connecticut, there's no guarantee that apartment complex would even accept me. That's for one. For two, not only do they want you to have 2, sometimes 3 times more than your rent, they want you to put first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit. And we all know for a fact that you're probably never going to see that security deposit. So that's just extra money you're giving them just to say, hey, thank you for letting me rent your space. So, I don't want to set myself, if I go back to Connecticut for any reason, the job will have to pay me at least like 80 grand plus. Like, I went to Connecticut to apply for a job, and their starting salary was around like 80 grand, which is livable. No matter where you live in Connecticut, it's a livable wage. But all the other jobs that I look for, because there was a time where I'm like, damn, I do need to go back, because for what it's worth, the food is a lot better, again, friends, family, everything else, to make an excuse to go back. But when I was looking for other jobs, no other job paid that. And even if you have a college degree, a 4-year degree in any field that they want you to have a degree in, that wage that they were offering still doesn't stack up to the job that I applied to. So why go back to Connecticut and set myself up for failure? Who knows? I don't. But if someone could give me the answer on why I should go back to Connecticut and set myself up for failure, let me know.